Hey everybody, Adam. This is our lessons learned from the CAT project. We are Team Catatonic. And before we dive into the actual deliverable phases that we went through, I'm going to first discuss the proposal portion of this project. So overall, the proposal we believe went smoothly, but there were definitely three areas that we agreed as a group that we could definitely improve in. The first being a better visual presentation of who our client is and what their needs are. The second is we needed better clarity between the different phases of the translation process. And the last was that the client didn't provide a style guide, and we believe that we didn't do enough to inform the client of what a style guide is and that they could possibly add feedback, and it's best to add the feedback at the very beginning of the whole proposal. So here is a screenshot of our original project proposal goals portion. So looking at it, I really feel, or we discussed after, that it just lacks some depth. So what I mean by that is that we didn't really kind of hone in on describe what the our client, and also what exactly the client's goals were. So I feel like this portion we could have been a little more in depth and a little bit better visually. And then this is the actual proposal portion itself. As you can notice, it's kind of clunky looking and not very professional. And being that the client is their first time, this may be a little bit overwhelming. So you just have a lot of block of text that's together with all these different parts, and they don't know what the lingo is, and it can be very overwhelming. So we discussed that, the next time we'd definitely make it look more professional looking and maybe have it a lot more concise and clear and not just a bunch of text blocked together. And Will now discuss the actual roles and the project overview.
How we chose to carry out the project was to first establish a master glossary. So from the source text, we used AntConc to pull out the key terms to create the glossary. And then we had each translator translate a portion of the source text, and with that also create a individual TM. And then in the last step, we merged everything together. And we each had our own roles. So Chenya was doing the pseudo translation, and Shin managed merging the translations and TMs. And I did the terms, and Yo did the master glossary. And so one of the things that I discovered was an issue for me was keeping track of the files that I was creating. So I had a bunch of old projects, and I had actually created two projects that were sort of the same, and one of them was not right and the other one was right. And I got those mixed up. So next time I need to have better file management in Trados.
Okay, I'm in charge of merging the translation memories and translations. But before doing that, I hope every translator will make sure we have submitted the correct translation memories and translations. What I did is that I created a whole new project, used all the translation memories from the translators and the master translation memory, and updated the master translation memory. And then I can have all the translations in one project, in one file. And later I found that there's another better way to merge translation memories by simply with one button that is upgrade translation memories. And there's also maybe a better way to merge translation files, and Chenye will talk about it.
So actually I was taking care of the pseudo translation and my part of the translation, and the pseudo translation went pretty well. And I set the contraction rate 0.8 to adapt to the real text size into Chinese. And so I want to talk about the technical preparation overall because when it comes to choose the most suitable CAD tool for our project, we choose to create separate projects in Trados and merge it in the end. But we found it a bit complicated and not very efficient. We noticed that MapSource does have a function that allows us to split the job and assign the segments in the same document to different translators, so we can actually work on the same document. And then we explored Trados again to see if we can find the similar functions, but we failed. But there is actually a plugin or a separate application available that allows us to split and merge the work, but still it's kind of extra effort. So we suggest that Trados work on it, and so we can work more efficiently. So when it comes to choosing the right work platform for our project, we have to consider our customers' requirements. We should specify with the clients first, see if they prefer any of the tools. So in this case, if the customer prefers Trados, then there's no problem. But if not, we will consider just consider the work compatibility to see if it's suitable to our project, and also taking work consistency into consideration with other projects, because if we are working as a team, as a company, we might be doing some different projects at the same time. We need to make the workflow consistent to be more efficient. Getting familiar with the new platform might be a little bit more extra effort. And
so I'll briefly just go over my portion. I was just in charge of the term base, which in itself is quite straightforward. The issue that came up was that the fact that this project was split amongst 4 different translators. So originally I was under the impression, perhaps naively, that you could create a term base from scratch. So you didn't have to add terms as you're actually translating. So looking back now, what I should have originally done is, prior to us just allocating the portions of the translation, I should have created a term base to begin with that I would have then shared with the other translators. That way, avoiding a situation wherein I only have my portion of the translation and I can only add terms from my portion. So that's definitely something that I'll keep in mind the next time I have a project like this. And to just kind of summarize this, I think that this project was great in kind of bringing in everything that we've learned this semester and having it see from going from point A to point B, and all the fun stuff, arguing together and all that stuff, and talking on Slack and all that stuff, that it was also a great experience as well.
Yeah, great learning experience.
Yeah.
So with that,
Right?
our team photo.
Our team photo.
Team photo.
Yay, look at
Yay,
us.
that's it. So
All right,
thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you.